welcome. This is a super important podcast about hair, question mark, featuring Ryan Teal and Steven Adams as your co-hosts. Let's begin.
What do you want to talk about today?
Actually, one thing that I've been wanting to talk about that I've been trying to get on my How to Be More Awesome or Hairdresser is employees. And I feel like, like I've been asked a lot of questions lately, like, people wanting me to address it on how to be a more awesome or hairdresser. And I'll probably even go back and put it up on that as well. But it is kind of nice to also have your opinion as I do it as well. And my whole thing about employees is I feel like I get questions about, like, how do I inspire other people that work for me to have as much passion or put as much work into the business as I do. And, my whole thing is you're not ever going to do that.
No,
it's never going to happen. I mean, number one, pay them more. And number two, they're still not going to put as much effort into it.
You can pay them 80% of them a commission rate of 80%, and they're still not gonna put in the drive. They're still gonna be like, well, I'm not busy enough. I mean, here's the thing. It's like, I really truly believe, like, employees, the best way to solve an employee challenge, hire really freaking good employees.
And that's hard to do, especially nowadays.
It's hard today. It's super hard to do. And that's like the first thing that I look at when I hire somebody is so I just hired somebody this week. Thank God. It's been like a cold. I have not hired anybody for 6 months, which is really slow. Usually I try to hire, I try to hire about 12 people a year.
Mm-hmm.
Because that some are going to make it, some will make it, some won't. And so you want to, like, overhire. And it's really tough because there's not enough applicants right now. There's not enough people in school, and the quality of person is so low. So I've been very, 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 very fortunate in the last 12 years with my salon in St. Paul. We have lost 3 people in the last 6 years to be us firing them.
Uh-huh.
Because of whatever craziness that they've done. We've lost 1 person in that same time frame in 5 or 6 years to booth rental.
Okay.
And we have anybody who actually makes it through the training program, they really grow and stay. And I think it's because we have a few different things. To have a really great, solid employee, as a business owner, you have to have a good personal relationship with them.
Oh, yeah.
That's number one. Not partying relationship, a good personal relationship where you're really understand who they are, what they're about, and understand that things are going to happen. They're going to be late.
And what makes them tick?
They're going to be late sometimes. They're going to come in, they're going to have challenges, and sit down and talk to them about those challenges and have that open conversation and just really talk about it, and then be really understanding. And I feel like by doing that in the last, we've really changed our direction over the last 6 years, and really trying to be understandable and really know that we have to mold our business around our employees. It's really helped with employee loyalty.
Yeah.
And we will give people the opportunity to, we'll give them that opportunity to screw up, and we will work with them through it up to a point. Usually it hits 4, 5, 6 times of us sitting down going, okay, how are you going to change this behavior? And then finally it's just okay, we have to part.
And, my whole thing, now how many people do you have at each of your locations?
So the employee salon has 20 employees.
Okay, that's
20
big.
20 stylists. And Yeah, we have 20 stylists. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we're our 5th receptionist starts this week. So I think we'll have 25 employees.
25 employees.
Yes, and then the chair rental salon, which is next door, has 9 independent contractors.
And then how many chairs do you have in your rental?
11.
Okay, so you can still get people in there, but you're almost at capacity.
Almost. I mean, with the independent contractors, we have a few that are on part-time. So my goal is to, like, if you're working 3 days and you're working 2 days, you're sharing a station.
So at 9, if one person leaves, that's kind of devastating for you.
It can be.
It's almost 1/10 of the people that are renting the chairs. Where at 20, if one person leaves, it's 0.5%, or
thereabout. That music was so good.
that's my dryer. I just got home. I just got off the plane and I'm washing all my clothes, so I apologize.
Oh no, I don't care. I was like, wow, it's so relaxing.
So what I've been telling people is that if you have less than 20 people, you really need to have what you just said, that personal relationship. And the check isn't always the most important. Sometimes it's, I want more education. Sometimes I want more opportunity. Sometimes I want this. Sometimes I want that. And I feel like we should never expect anybody to just work or with somebody that doesn't necessarily know who they are, essentially is what I'm trying to say. And I feel like a lot of hairdressers, especially the ones that are working by the chair full time, that don't get to work on their salons, totally miss that personal connection, between the hairdresser and the management, essentially.
Yeah, and the other thing that I've really found is that really helps is when so like my business partner and I decide okay, we have a decision that we want to or change something in the salon. We first bring it to the employees and we're like, okay, here's what we're thinking. These are our options. What do you guys feel?
Mm.
So they have an input. They don't always think that they have an input. They think that we already are going to be like, oh, they already know what they're going to do. Well, which we have an idea, but we still want to hear their input because sometimes we've drastically changed our ideas.
Yeah.
Their input. And I think it's important to be able to really focus on that and really have everybody involved in it. But it's challenging because especially nowadays, everything, we can say social media driven, marketing driven, even manufacturer classrooms, everything is now really being taught on individuals.
Yeah.
Teams. And so it's changing. It makes it really a little bit challenging because you have to readjust to how you do education and how you who you bring in and how you I have to prep an educator who comes in and remind them these guys are all employees. We're working as a collective here. It's not individual basis. So we want to be able to these are things we want to talk about.
We need to lower our expectations on other people. And so the fact that anybody even has one person that comes to work every single day, and they could even be 10 minutes late. Now, if you're 10 minutes late, that's kind of a bullshit thing to do, and you need to follow your rules. But if they have intention, if their intentions are good towards you and your business, that's awesome. Because nowadays, so many people are so wrapped up in their own lives that if somebody even wants to come work for you, that's a huge compliment to you. Right. So I feel like we have these high expectations of not only our children, our employees, our spouses, our whatever, lower your freaking expectations. If they're following the rules and if they're showing up and getting the hair done and all that kind of stuff. And I remember I was a Nazi when I had salons. You had to show up and, it's I had this dress code that was this terrible dress code that everybody had to wear black because that was original. There's not a single hair salon that has all black. And then I started letting go and I started lowering my expectations and I became a much happier person.
Oh yeah.
And my staff was much happier. And then what I also believe in is that lower your expectations to other people, but raise your own expectations. I expect myself to get up to work and dress fantastic every single day, where, if they even just come to work, I'm so happy just to see you.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the numbers necessarily that I'm so worried about. It's like, just treat people nicer, because I feel like we haven't and we don't, and we get in this whole thing of like apprenticeship programs where, like, they're really just
bitch program.
slaves, essentially.
Yeah, slaves and stuff.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And they're not learning shit because we don't know how to run an apprenticeship program.
No. I mean, I know how to run an apprenticeship program.
Yeah. But not everybody. And a lot of people that have apprentices shouldn't be having them because they haven't even built their own name yet.
You know what's interesting? It's like, this is fascinating. I have not had an assistant or an apprentice since April.
Really?
Yeah. We have none in the salon at the moment because we haven't found the right people. So I'm not hiring them. So but what's great is 2 of our newer stylists volunteered to assist one of our busiest stylists. And I'm just like, I'd rather have you guys have the assistant. I don't need them. I'm just going to. So I'm doing my own shampoos. I'm doing my own blow dries. I'm like working on the same time schedule, staying on time, and I book efficiently, meaning like I do a half hour to 45-minute haircuts with a half hour, 45-minute, with a half hour, 45-minute color application. And if I do a color, I do a haircut or another color in between. And it's like boom, 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 boom. But what's great is the team is seeing that me as the owner of the salon is doing it.
Hustling, yeah.
When I'm not busy, if I have downtime and I don't have anything to do in the office, I'm folding towels. I'm sweeping.
Yeah.
I'm joking around. I'm talking to their clients. It's like all of a sudden they realize, oh, wait, we all got to do this together. And they jump in, and it's been really great. I mean, no assistance for, 4 or 5 months now. It's kind of nuts. But,
That's kind of nice. I had at one point back in pre-2008 in Portland, I had 2 assistants myself. Because I was doing anywhere from 24 to 30 haircuts a day in an 8-hour shift.
Yeah.
And then right at the recession, I stopped booking 15-minute appointments. I had to fire both of my assistants, and I went from $45 haircuts to $150, and I went from 15-minute haircuts to 1 full hour. I made more money. I was much more happier, and I didn't have to have as much of a clientele. I mean, it was so more liberating.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and that's the thing. You always, I think, and I explain this to my employees all the time, is you want to work hard.
Yeah.
You want to work efficiently too, and you want to be happy. If you're not happy with what you're doing, you gotta stop and change it.
Yeah.
And I think it's so vital to be able to do that. So
and I know that we're kind of harping on salon owners right now, because it is kind of, I was thinking this yesterday because I work for a manufacturer that I've been he was just narcissistic and rude, the guy that I worked for. And what happened was, all the way down, the whole culture was narcissistic and rude. And so I always kind of feel like, the shit always rises to the top. If the salon's not working, and if their employees aren't working, and if people aren't successful, it's 100% to do with the owner.
It's always. And being a salon owner, I accept that. If my team is failing, that's my problem.
Did I lose you?
100% my problem. It means it is 100% my fault. I'm not doing something properly. And in the past, when I had 2 salons, I know what it was. I was stretched too thin. I had 2 salons. I was trying to work both of them. I was teaching on the road. I was like doing, other stuff outside of the business that was helping the business, but it was like I was so much not there.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, 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 really hurt the business. And I really appreciate now having it's like we have having the 2 salons side by side. It's been really nice working with my employees. With the independent contractors, I don't deal with much. I don't go in. It's not my job. It is not my job. My job is to be their landlord.
Yeah. And
But
make sure that, like, the lights are on and the doors open.
yeah, lights are on, doors open, the receptionist there, heat's on, power, great, everything's running smooth.
Yeah.
But as an employer with employees, my job is to like make sure that they're doing well and really helping them out and really supporting them and really giving them the quality workplace that they really deserve. And actually this is something I just saw on a Facebook group. Was it this morning or yesterday? Somebody was saying about why they shouldn't work in a hair salon that as an employee, because they post, because the salon owner wants them to, really drive business in with their Instagram and social media. So they're always marketing and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I get that. So 20 years ago, I thought the same thing, because 20, 30 years ago, before there was social media, salon owners, what did they have us do? Run around and pass out flyers and go door to door and knock on people's things and like hand out business cards and flyers and promotions and blah, blah, same thing. So that's never going to change. That part is never going to change. But what will change is how we actually deal with things. So what I did as a business owner, I looked at that and I changed my structure of how I paid. Most traditional salons, when they pay commission, you get a higher commission rate based on how much dollars you're generating. And I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. What if all of those clients are first-time clients coming to the salon because of the salon? So what I ended up doing is we switched everything to so it's all built on reputation. So it's all built on retention. So the higher your retention rates are, and we look at it every 6 months, and the commission rate never drops. So if you start at a low commission rate we start at 35, which is low, but we also offer full benefit package like health insurance, dental insurance, IRA matching, everything. And what we end up doing is we like, in that first 6 months, based on your retention rate, like how many of those new guests are coming back to see you and how many people you're retaining that are becoming multiple visit clients. Based on that changes your commission rate from 35 to 40 to 42 to 45 to 47, all the way up. And then if you become an educator and you like actually are working with an assistant, then you get another jump. And then it's like, boom. So it's like, what you do, I'm paying employees, like I have an employee, I pay 50%, which is everyone's like, that's too much to pay an employee and to have all benefits. It's tough, but you know what? We still do it. And it's like, because it's worth it, because 50% is better than nothing.
Yeah.
It just, it's that whole thing of like, well, my commission rate, your commission rate does matter. But there isn't a huge jump. Like if you're still doing $2,000 a week at 40% commission versus 42% commission, that's only a few $100s. You'd be better off getting a bigger tip.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Well, and what's nice about that way, as opposed to just the numbers, is that it inspires, obviously, people, being retained and then, bringing you more dollars, when they are done. Yeah. But what that also does is it inspires the person that is making the commission, or the stylist essentially, to up their service. Because you can just give a haircut, but you could also just go to Supercuts and get a haircut. Not that Supercuts has bad haircuts. I just pulled that out of.
No, fast. We'll call them fast service salons.
Yeah, fast. Yeah. So you could just go to like any place and get a haircut.
Yeah.
What's going to separate us from other, of those salons is the better service. And if you are basing your pay based off of your retention, that means that if you have high retention, your services look good.
Exactly. And that means that you're like, it means that your clients love you. And if your clients are loving you because your customer service is good, you're going to be a great employee. I don't care how technical you are. Technical, you got to be like, sort of technical. You got like some skills, but it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be, the top of the top of the top.
I know some really great hairdressers that actually have a very mediocre technical set. They have a good chat and they can blow dry well.
Yeah. And
You know,
that's, I have a few employees that make over $100,000 a year. That's not behind what they do behind the chair. They do 200 because they're making 50%. I mean, they're making $100,000 a year behind the chair. Haircuts, yeah, they're okay. Blow
yeah,
dry, great. Customer service, incredible.
and
Clients
that's all that matters.
love them. And I have no problem giving all of my clients to them.
Yeah,
And in fact, that's what I do.
and you know, I feel like the customer service matters because, again, back to what, you know, I kind of wanted to sway into, which is back to the Amazon thing is, you know, customer service is where it's at, and that's how we're going to maintain what's coming up. There's going to be a major shift in what we know of as retail, and not just our retail, the soap that we sell, you know, behind the chair. But dude, I saw, I don't know if you saw, Dillard's is closing, and Macy's is closing.
Which one?
Macy's.
Are they closing all of them, Macy's?
Yes. And so it's like, holy shit. I mean, we're going through a massive like shift in what we know of as business. Malls are dead. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how the Mall of America is doing.
Mall of America.
Totally, yeah. I don't know how that one's doing, but like every mall I go to now, like there's like, I would say probably 50% of the stores in there or the spaces in there are empty.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Mall of America I think does okay, and they've actually been expanding, but they've done a lot of different things. Like they brought in, like they have 2 or 3 hotels that are anchors now.
Oh,
They
nice.
also do
Okay.
like wedding parties, and they have a conference center. They do, you know, it has. So I think they're doing okay, and businesses will stay there, but it's not as crazy as you would think. You know,
Yeah.
you might find 2 or 3 of the same stores.
And now you're getting probably a lot of travelers because you have hotels that are there, and it's tough for me. I travel so much; it's tough for me to you know, have Amazon deliver my groceries to my house.
Right.
But I was talking to a coworker the other day, and she told me that she hasn't been to a grocery store in over a year.
Wow.
She has all of her stuff delivered right to her house. She says she hasn't walked into a brick and mortar location to get anything. You know, like I went to Sephora when I was in Austin the other day. I went to Sephora because I needed to pick up some cologne. She said she buys everything from Sephora, but she hasn't been inside of Sephora in years.
Wow. Yeah, and you're going to see more and more and more of that. I mean, that's one of the things that I have to say. It's like, especially Amazon owning, you know, they own Whole Foods, you know, and so it's like it's a crazy thing that they're like,
And they make it so easy.
Whole Foods. I haven't been to Whole Foods in a while, and I stopped in, and she's like, "Do you have Amazon Prime?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." So I showed her, gave her, signed it all up. Now it's in there, it logged in, and every time I go in, connected to it, and boom, I get a discount.
You can also like return anything you get from Amazon to a Whole Foods.
Seriously? No.
Yeah, I promise. Dude, it's so easy. So, you know, back to what we were talking about is, you know, fantastic. I'm so happy about it because I feel like there's a lot of people that are going to, you know, be going away that have lost customer service.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that the only way for us to beat Amazon is to up that customer service. And the fact that you are paying based off of customer service is amazing.
No, and that's the whole thing. Customer service is the main driver of any business. So like even like restaurants. Do you go to a restaurant just because of the food, or do you go to the restaurant because the food's good but the customer service is great?
Exactly.
You know, it's.
I will overlook shitty food for good service.
Yeah.
Now, when I lived in Portland, like they almost prided themselves on bad service. I was like, you know, they actually, that was part of their advertising, is we have the worst service in the country.
Where was that one place, that Southern barbecue place that we went to, and they had just had terrible service?
God, I know exactly where it is. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like, and the crazy thing is, thinking about this, I was, you know, right now Minneapolis is going through a huge insurgent of like building and developing and apartment and condensing. and they're always putting all this retail space underneath. And I'm thinking about this. I'm like, retail sales is dying. Really, if you start thinking about it, what really is going to be left? Maybe shoe repair.
Yeah, service.
Dry cleaning.
Service.
Hair salon. Spas. Bars. Restaurants.
It's almost like a full circle, really.
Really, that's all there. What else is it going to be?
It made a full circle. If you think about it, there's because that's what we originally built our whole country on was industry, not retail.
No, exactly.
That's funny. I didn't even think of that, dude. I didn't even think of that. The residential on top, commercial property underneath. And I've always heard if you want to make a whole bunch of money, invest in commercial properties. Commercial properties probably really aren't the best investment anymore. Residential properties are probably the best because somebody always has to live somewhere.
That's also why all these developers are at least doing majority of it residential.
That's crazy, dude. That didn't even occur to me until you just said that. That's funny.
It's kind of an amazing thing, and you see this everywhere across the country, and really brick and mortar places and stores, and they're all going. It's all on the lower. You're going to see less and less and less and less of it. You're still going to see local boutiques that have really great customer service and really great product. Now, if they have shitty product, it's going to go away. But it's got to be really great service and really great product. And I think that's what will happen. I mean, I always compare to if you think about New York, walk around the streets of New York, not the main shopping areas, but the main, just a regular street neighborhood, you're still going to see boutiques, hair salons, nail salons, exactly what we're talking about. And I think New York is a way to look at it. And what's going to happen is we have to look at the New York market, and we have to look at these high condensed cities to see how that's going to change, because the retail aspect is going to go away.
Well, and I still feel that salons and I if there's ever manufacturers that listen to us, I mean, there is still hope for retail. I think that when I go to a vet or when I go to a doctor, if I go to a dentist and he's like, listen, Ryan, you have sensitive teeth. I really want you to use this toothpaste, Prel.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy it from him because I trust him. So if a salon is doing great service and hey, listen, I really want you to do that, this one, instead of what you can get at Amazon or whatever, then they'd be like, okay, that makes sense. But gone are the days of, I remember when I first started, years ago, where I would have 3 facings of one shampoo, 12 deep.
Yeah.
Now it's 2 facings and 2 deep, maybe.
Well, I was going to say, we pretty much, what I do is I actually look every week, we order every week, and I look at what retail is moving. And based on the items that do move on a regular basis, then we up our retail sales. So let's say we sell 10 in 1 week. I know that I can order 12 of those. But if I have another product that only moves, 1 a week, then I know that I can only have 2 of those on the shelf.
Yeah.
And we've condensed it, and it saved us actually thousands of dollars by really paying attention and watching our inventory levels. So I don't have tons of inventory unless it moves. If it moves, it's got a lot of inventory. If it doesn't move, it's 2 or 3 pieces max.
1 or 2 pieces.
Yep. Keep it really, really low. Yeah, and we do exactly the same thing with our color line in the back bar. I think, my business partner is really awesome in that aspect. He knows how to really pay attention to what's moving and where our price points are, and what, really paying attention to what we're actually selling and how to work from that. I think it's important to have somebody in your business, and most salons, if you aren't doing it, make sure you have somebody doing that for you to really help you. Don't just buy something just to buy something. Because I always think about if I'm going to bring in something new, is it going to cannibalize what I already have?
Exactly.
You want to make sure that you fit each niche and then kind of work it from there.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you, being in business, being a salon owner for 20 years has like taught me a lot. Because when I first started, I was like, yeah, we're a salon owner. We're just going to do whatever. And no, it doesn't work that way. You actually have to like really understand the business side of it.
Yeah.
Like really
Agree. So what time are we at?
I don't know yet. I haven't actually looked. We're doing good. We're not even hit the 10-minute warning yet.
Oh, good.
Yeah. No, this is actually going really well.
Oh, I think so too. What have you been listening to?
God, let's see. I got to pull it up because I forgot. There's a new band I just started listening to. Well, I told you about one. I think I sent you that info already.
Yeah.
And now I've been listening. Well, I just went and saw the Racketeers.
Oh, really? How was that?
It's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a huge. Well, actually, I've never listened to him before, so I'm not a huge Jack White fan. But at the same time, I think he does some good stuff in the industry, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And what I really liked is it was not a Jack White show.
Oh, really?
It was a Racketeer show, and it was kind of cool. So I've been listening to a little bit of them. I've been listening to this girl. She's out of Toronto, called Lights. She's kind of like acoustic-y, electronic-y stuff. I'm trying to think. Another band I was listening to is out of New York called the Midnight Horrors.
Okay.
They only have 2 songs that you can find, but I like them a lot. And let's see, one more. The Huntress and the Head, or the Huntress and the Holder of Hands.
Okay.
That's the actual name of the band. The Huntress and the Holder of Hands. Kind of like, I don't know, indie rock crap that's kind of like got cello in it.
Okay.
It's kind of cool. All over the frickin' place. But I just like, whenever someone's mentioned something, I pull it up and I start to like listen to it. What have you been listening to? Oh, I have also been listening to a lot of old school, the first 4 Black Sabbath albums.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. So like heavy.
I've just been going backwards a little bit. I'm like, never really listened to like the first few albums. Just like the hits.
Black Sabbath was one of my favorite albums ever.
So good.
Yeah.
Good.
I've been listening to, I just started a new podcast. I started a podcast called Cocaine and Rhinestones.
Nice.
Put out by David Allan Coe's son.
Yep.
And he's just telling stories about old country and western musicians and like all the stories behind of it. So I listened to 2 of them. One of them was about Loretta Lynn, and the other one was about Ernest Tubb. And so Ernest Tubb, like listening to that one, dude, Ernest Tubb was a badass motherfucker. He shot a dude. I mean, like, he was like a really sweet guy, but he got really pissed off one day and drunk and shot a dude. So I've been listening a little bit of Ernest Tubb because he has such an interesting voice. And that kind of like inspired me to like go back and listen to some like, David Allan Coe, obviously, and like, Tennessee Ernie Ford and whatnot. I'm still super obsessed right now with Joan Jett, like everything about Joan Jett. I saw her documentary, and like I'm 100% like she was such an amazing woman. And she I got to do her hair once, like way back in the day, and like I couldn't say anything because I was like Stan from South Park. Every time she said anything, I'd just throw up, fall over myself. And then this morning I watched the CBGB not documentary, but the CBGB story, where it's all like live action and it's like them like a dramatization of the building of. And it's told from Hilly Crystal's perspective.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, so like all morning has been a television, Talking Heads, Blondie, Iggy Pop, who else was it? Dead Boys. That's where actually I finished because I had to get to some work. So I like my playlist all day has been like, the Hilly Crystal playlist. It's been
so awesome. That's a great group. Where'd
Yeah.
you get to watch that show?
I just got it. Well, I have it, like, I got it on Amazon. um,
Did you purchase it or do you rent it?
I purchased it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've seen it before. It's really old. It came out like probably 6 years ago. And the downside to it is, like, everybody in the bands, like Hilly Crystal looks like Hilly Crystal, and the Talking Heads look like the Talking Heads, and Blondie didn't look that great. Iggy Pop looked and acted the same. Now, the first time I watched it, I was like, dude, that guy looks just like Iggy Pop in his like blonde hair era, you know, like when he was all like, you know, and like all strung out, kind of, you know, whatever. Like, and he was like acting like him, and like every like nuance of Iggy Pop. I'm like, who is it? And then I finally watched the credits. It was Taylor fucking Hawkins. And you know my relationship with Taylor Hawkins, the drummer for the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
That he used to beat me up when I was in middle school. Because he's 2 years older than me, and he was a rich kid, and I was the only punk rock kid. And I went to school one day, listen to this, I went to school one day wearing an Iggy Pop t-shirt, and he's like, who the hell's Iggy Pop, some sort of faggot? And he ripped my shirt.
And now he plays him.
Now he's playing him on the story of Iggy. Oh my God, it's like, karma doesn't exist, man. Karma's a triangle.
Karma is always fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend that movie, and also that podcast, Cocaine and Rhinestones. It's a great one, and he does so much research on that podcast. Like he tells like in-depth stories about these people.
That's cool. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah,
definitely check that one out. Last question for you. Ready?
Yes.
We talked about employees. We talked about customer service. Talked about music. We've never talked about politics. Should we?
Yeah, sure.
Because I was just like, why not? I think I actually put it on there that we were going to talk about politics sometime.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm very apolitical. Like yeah. I haven't.
You don't have.
I have, as an adult, I have never voted ever. I don't vote. I don't believe in voting. I believe that when you give me somebody to vote for instead of somebody to vote against, then I will totally participate in your thing. We didn't have anybody to vote for in the last campaign. I think that we're screwed right now. We would have been screwed no matter what. I do think that our current situation is pretty screwed as well. But that's obvious, though. It's like, I mean, like, and I can't even say that necessarily. I'm trying to be as I don't pay attention to a lot of politics because I feel like so many people are, and it just pisses so many people off. And I really have a hard time feeling like a lot of what is going on in our current politics is, and again, I'm a big conspiracy theorist, that I think that they play a lot of rope-a-dopes. I kind of feel that, and you know what I mean by rope-a-dope. Rope-a-dope is like where Muhammad Ali was the king of the rope-a-dope. He'd be like, look over here, and then he'd punch you with his left hand in the liver and knock you out.
Right. I always feel like politics is all about that.
Yeah.
You and me, as not politicians, we have no idea what is going on because they just flood the media and they flood the television and everywhere else with stuff that they know pushes everyone's buttons.
Yeah. And I kind of feel that Obama was given to us so we could have the first black president, which I was super happy about. But I think he was given to us so they could take away our rights after, Bush, that they could actually take more rights, away from us because we were so fighting Bush and September 11th and all that kind of stuff. So we were given Obama. Now we're given Trump, who, I mean, let's face it, the guy is a loose cannon like I am. And I don't think he thinks about all of the words that he is using. And I think he causes a lot of problems. But I think that they're doing that because I kind of feel like it might be foreign affairs is what we're not supposed to be paying attention to. That we're looking more, at him because we hate him so much or we love him so much or whatever. It doesn't matter either way. I just feel that he was placed there as a puppet, so we're not paying attention to the other things that they're screwing us on.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think it's fascinating to me is how so many people in our country get so upset and so polarized about,
Polarized.
and it's not, which realistically is not great for our business, or for, it's not good for anybody. It's not good for
No.
my business as a salon owner. It's not good. It's not good for our country. It's something that we really have to like really pull people together. So I'm curious to see where politics is going to go. I don't watch it very closely. My general rule is, if it's important, people will talk to me about it.
Yeah, and I've always thought that local politics is more important than federal. Like I think that one of my politics is I think that weed should be legal, in every single state, because I think that's done so great things for many states.
I think people get so caught up on the federal stuff. Federal really doesn't affect you or I, because
Yeah.
we live in cities which have our own city leadership, which then have to follow what goes in the state. And the federal is really kind of just the surface. It's like, it takes care of the roads. It takes care of like people coming in and out of the country. And it's like, and even if somebody makes a federal law, this is like the craziest thing. Federal law change, you can make a federal law, but your state doesn't have to follow the federal law.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
have to at all. I mean, what equal rights, ERA, the whole ERA movement, from the 70s, it's kind of crazy. It still hasn't become ratified for the whole country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only 30 states have agreed to it, and they need 38 for it to become a complete federal thing.
Well, another example of that, and then this is kind of like, I kind of took a stand. I'm quiet about the stand because I really can't. I mean, in our industry, I don't think that we should voice our opinion,
Yeah.
either from platform or education, or even behind the chair. I don't like when I was behind the chair full time. I was the master of playing the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
So like if I lived in Portland, Oregon, and everybody had a very liberal democratic type view, which I kind of tended in family stuff or home stuff, I kind of tend to lean that way, where a lot of my economic stuff, I might lean a little bit more on the Republican side.
Yeah.
But I was always the guy that, like, if you came in, you were super liberal, I would take the other stance. Not that I believed it, I would just take it.
Yeah. Just because why not?
Cause a reaction.
Yeah.
But I don't really like voice my opinion a whole heck of a lot. But I will say that with the current state of Alabama, and the things that they have decided to do with abortions, I actually chose to not do the Alabama hair show.
Right.
And it's one of those that, like, okay, so I'm not a woman, so it's really not. My belief has always been, I'm not a woman. I really shouldn't have that much of an opinion on a woman's body. Like if I was giving birth, I wouldn't want her to have an opinion on mine. So really, like, even though it is it's part of the, it's part of the man as well. Really, it's the person who's carrying it for 9 months who actually should have a lot more of the whatever.
100%.
Yeah. So my whole thing is and I'm not even going to post it on social, except for like right now is like really the only place I'm talking about it is I just don't feel comfortable even getting in the conversation there.
Right.
So I chose to not boycott it, just not go. Right.
Just you choose where you're going to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's always interesting. It's kind of like this is also why like there's no federal hairdressing license, like the whole United States.
Yeah.
Because every state has got so many different laws and rules, and none of them are the same. It's like New York's 100 hours for licensing. North Dakota's 2,100 hours. It's a big 1,100 hour gap, and it's never going to work until all the states can actually agree on one single.
Yeah.
So.
And that'll probably never happen.
It's never going to happen if they can't even do it with equal rights for women.
Yeah.
How are they going to ever do it for hairdressers? And it's so sad that that's. So I think when it comes to politics, don't worry about the federal so much. Worry about your local stuff.
Yeah.
There's my preaching. That's it. But I don't know. I think it's important to be at least thoughtful about it.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I probably should think more about it. Even I don't, but I probably should think more
Yeah,
about
but you're on the road, so what state would you
it. Pay attention to.
You're like, where am I this week? Okay.
Yeah, probably Louisville, but
Yeah.
I don't even know where to. Like, I haven't watched the news probably in like 13 years.
I never watch the news. Sometimes I'll get a notification or something.
I do feel it's weird though that like you were talking about the polarization of the right versus the left. I kind of feel like it's the whole like they do it on purpose to split us.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're split, it's very easy to keep a culture down, and I feel like we're really just kind of falling into that, where all right wingers are racist, and all left wingers are communists, and yeah, no, that's not because I don't fit into that mold at all. Like I'm nowhere near that.
Mold. Well, it's kind of like it. I'm going to relate it back to the hair world. You ready? Owner salons
Versus lease.
Versus leasing. It's like independent contractors versus employee. It's the customer service.
Versus now studios.
Yeah.
But see, that's a third party now.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's all the same.
Totally. We're all hairdressers.
Stop paralyzing and stop polarizing between the difference. There is no difference. You're a hairdresser. To be successful as a hairdresser, it doesn't matter if you're an independent contractor, if you're a booth renter, if you're a studio renter, if you're a salon owner, if you're an employee. It doesn't matter what you are. If you have really solid, good education, if you have really solid, amazing customer service, you're going to do well. And that's all that matters. Really. I think.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's just I think the more we get into the whole polarization of politics, it also creates the polarization between everything else.
I also think that it kind of damages us, like our own personal happy level kind of goes down as well.
Exactly. Be happy. Love everyone. We need.
And what's funny is I think I'm happier than I have been my entire life, almost, because I've started learning to like blame myself. Obama didn't. I don't have a job because of Obama, and like I can't go, whatever, because of Trump or or Bush or any of that. No, you know what? It's not the president. It's not your parents. It's not your spouse. You're not successful because you might just be an idiot.
You're not successful because you're not successful.
Exactly, and become successful.
Change it, and
yeah.
I wasn't always successful. I mean, I've had ups and downs and all kinds of crazy shit.
Me too.
And that's what it is, Success, I always say, is like there is no real such thing as success. It's like an imaginary dream. It's like chasing that perfect haircut.
Oh yeah. And I feel that like you can have small successes.
Exactly.
I had in 2008. I won Naha. That was a small success compared to the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I had a small success 2 days ago. I bought a pair of cowboy boots for $900, and the fact that I could throw $900 down, that was a big old success. Because to be honest, last year I couldn't even buy tennis shoes.
See, I mean that's the thing. It's like it changes all the time.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
I paid off a credit card and bought $900 cowboy boots.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. You are so successful.
I am so successful. But you know what? Tomorrow I'm not going to be.
Why not? You never know.
But it was good seeing you, man. Yeah. Should we sign off?
Yeah, I think we should head out. I think maybe because we're only having 2 people that it only lets us record for as long as we want.
Wow, that's awesome.
But we've been on almost 45 minutes. So
yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Those of you who are watching us, you can hit us up. You can hit me up at Ryan _Teal at Instagram, and Just Hair Original on Instagram. I am changing the Ryan _Teal one. I'm actually going to get rid of a lot of my photos on there because I've decided that I don't really want to have photos so much anymore because that's not really who I am anymore. I'm turning more into how to be a more awesomer hairdresser and how to help hairdressers become more successful. So I'm actually getting rid of the photos part of my thing, and because that's historical Ryan. That's not current day Ryan. Current day Ryan is I'm trying to get you guys more successful. So that's going to become more of just that how to be a more awesomer hairdresser. We have a super important podcast on YouTube. Actually, it's a super important podcast about hair on YouTube, right?
No, it's just a super important podcast.
Okay. And then how do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, and we also have a super important podcast on Instagram, and we also have it on Facebook. And then yes, you can get hold of me on Instagram at Stephen Adams, and that's STEPHEN Adams Hair. So Stephen Adams Hair is my Instagram and my Facebook and my email. You can get me on all of them. So,
and then you can also pick this up as a actual podcast on iTunes, right?
Yeah, you can download this on iTunes, and you can also download this on Google Play. And hopefully, maybe if I have a little time today, I'll try to get up on Spotify.
Oh, nice. That'd be great. That'd be great.
The next step.
So if you love us, follow us, like us, share us. If you don't love us,
peace out, man.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Love you guys. Love you, Stephen.
All right. Take care, man. It was good seeing you.
Good seeing you.
Enjoy.
Thank you so much again for listening to a super important podcast about hair.